So for context, my female 29, boyfriend 34 is a doctor. Most of his friends are from work, and they all seem to dislike me and act distant, maybe because I'm not a doctor too? I don't know. And I don't care, honestly. But since we started dating, they've been asking to hang out without me, and they leave any event I'm at. My boyfriend said they're just taking their time to get used to me. Anyways, his birthday was days ago. I'd arranged for the party and paid for everything. It wasn't a surprise since the party was held at the restaurant, and he needed a heads up to invite his doctor friends. We got there, then his friends started arriving. They greeted him and started shaking his hand and hugging him, while completely ignoring me, though I was there next to him. The tension started when one of them began making remarks about how I dressed. I sucked it up, but another friend started interrogating me about my degree and implying I was ignorant for my food choice. What? An hour later, another one asked if I could leave because they wanted to discuss work stuff and it's confidential. I was so shocked I laughed, asking why he thought it was appropriate to discuss work during a party, and he replied that I had an attitude. An argument ensued, and they demanded that I leave, but I said no. My boyfriend finally spoke up after it escalated and asked that I keep the peace and go home, but I refused and reminded him and let his friends know that I'd arranged for this party and paid for it, so they should leave since they're just guests. He pulled me aside and begged me to go home after they said if I didn't leave, they would, but I still refused. So they left, all of them, and the party was cut short. My boyfriend was upset and started complaining at home that I ruined his B-day the minute I started arguing with his friends. I told him they were being disrespectful to me, but he said I was wrong too because they said they wanted to discuss medical stuff, and I should have respected that and not made it personal. He's not speaking to me now. I was so hurt I couldn't argue anymore. I felt like I ruined his birthday by making a scene like he said and acting passive-aggressive. Am I the idiot? Edit. I refused to leave because I figured they used the medical stuff discussion as an excuse to get me to leave early. Not the idiot. OP used that red flag as a cape and fly away. This is not normal behavior. I am married to a doctor, and none of his friends behaved like that. Even when we were dating, he would have never tolerated his friends treating me that way. Your boyfriend is in the wrong 100%. Allowing you to be treated that way is a deal breaker. What on earth? Not the idiot. Who in their right mind walks into a party as a guest and asks the birthday boy's girlfriend to leave because you want to talk about a certain topic? The actual audacity of it all. Why would anyone go somewhere that is public with other people there and expect everyone to just leave at your convenience? Then your boyfriend asks you to leave too? What the heck? Just change the topic. He needs to grow a backbone and stand up to them and treat you with respect. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. He chose his friends, although you arranged everything. Asking you to leave was incredibly rude, and that is without you hosting. You deserve someone who treats you better. OP, I can't help but notice that you zoom in on how the friends are idiot and that you suspect the whole work talk was an excuse to get rid of you. You seem right on that, but I'm getting the impression that you're blind. You have an SO problem and not a friends of your SO problem. The issue is that your SO massively disrespects you in front of those crappy friends, but you seem to point your anger at the friends. Are you dating Satan? What type of boyfriend asked you to leave the birthday dinner you paid for? Feel the joy that you ruined his stupid birthday and dump him ASAP. Honey, there is no time to get used to you. They either accept you for who you are and not what you do, or they can kick rocks. If they haven't accepted you, then either your dude needs new friends, or you need to throw the whole dude out. Screw that garbage of being made to feel less than. If he can't understand that, he is not the dude for you. You deserve the utmost respect, period. 9 years ago, we found out that my 28 female, mother, had a 5-year affair with someone she met from work. My parents divorced and she remarried the man, Greg. My mother moved her husband and his daughter, Kylie, 26, from his previous marriage into our house, and I lived with them before I left for college. I remained in minimal contact with them until Kylie joined my company and worked in my department. Nobody was aware of our relations since we had different last names, and I told Kylie not to disclose anything about this. Last Friday, while clocking into work with a few of my coworkers, Kylie came up to me and asked if I could come home for a family dinner. Our entire department was gossiping about it by lunch, and Kylie would confirm their suspicions. Fed up, I told the department that I did not have a sister. Things died down at work, and I agreed to make it to dinner, considering it was my mother's birthday. At dinner, I was bombarded with questions about why I refused to acknowledge my sister at work and refused to even call her my sister. Greg told me I was a petty bully for embarrassing Kylie at work and that he had had enough of me mistreating his daughter. He told my mother that my misbehavior resulted from my parents' coddling. He demanded that I address him as my father and Kylie as my sister and tell everyone at work. At that point, I had enough of his relentless chastising, so I told him that all he signed was a marriage certificate and not adoption papers, so I'm not his daughter. Therefore, I will not be addressing him as my father. I brought up the fact that I know my dad had created an account for my college fund and paid child support each month, but they used the funds to purchase a new car and pay off credit card debt. Back then, they told me that I would have to get a part-time job to help pay off college because money was tight since they had just gotten a new car. I always found it weird that Kylie never had to get a job to go to college and could afford to stay in a nice apartment. Kylie was crying by the end of the argument. My mother broke down and yelled at me to stop, while Greg called me an ungrateful witch. I told them that if they only have the capacity to acknowledge and care for one daughter, then do not expect me to be in Kylie's life as her big sister, and left the house. I guess Kylie posted about it on social media because friends and family called me up. Some told me I was being harsh and unfair to Greg and my mother, who took care of me, and Kylie, who had nothing to do with this, while some understood where I was coming from. So, am I the idiot for doing this? Edit. Child support is mandated until 18 in my country, but my dad wanted to make sure I was well taken care of, so he continued until I was independent at 21. My dad gave me 2/3 of my tuition, and it was decided that my mother would pay the other third. Unfortunately, child support in my country isn't heavily regulated, so people could get away with misusing the funds. In my case, my dad deposited the money into a joint bank account that had both my mother's and my name on it. She moved the funds out of that account without needing my permission. Not the idiot. They stole your money. Sue your cheating mother. But to be honest, I had stopped calling her mother. Cheaters don't deserve any better. Kylie isn't so innocent too. I'm willing to bet that she didn't include why you blew up at them or why you wanted to cut ties. She's old enough to know what her father and mother did. She's making you look bad to get sympathy and attention. You did nothing wrong, but they did, including Kylie. I guess Kylie posted about it on social media. This is where I have a problem with Kylie. I was a bit miffed that she'd alluded to a relationship at work when you had previously told her not to, and now she's turned a private argument into a sympathy farming session. I don't like how she's playing this. Not the idiot. You seem to have handled yourself really well with Greg. Blended families are complicated. It doesn't help that step-parents sometimes want to overstep. OP, you have to inform your father. What your mother and Kylie's sorry excuse of a father did is literally theft. You and your father need to take legal action. Even if you can't recover the money, he deserves to know. I would be furious if the money I had saved for my daughter was spent on buying a car for the man who had an affair with my wife. This morning, my daughter, Tween, dressed for school in an objectively hideous outfit, clashing patterns and colors. She legitimately looked like a clown. Usually, I don't say anything about her choice of clothing, unless her skirt is too short or whatever, but this outfit looks so bad that I suggested she should change into something different, or else she was going to get teased. My daughter said, and I quote, "I'm a big girl. I can handle my own business." I didn't appreciate the attitude, but I didn't think it was worth an argument, so I let her go to school without changing. She got home tonight and was in an obviously bad mood and was wearing a different sweater that I think she borrowed from a friend. I asked her if anyone made fun of how she was dressed, and she sarcastically told me, yeah, everyone was mean. Friends said I looked like an idiot, and everyone kept making fun of me. I said, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, sweetie. She said, you should be sorry. It's half your fault. Why didn't you make me change? I said, because I thought you could handle your own business, remember? She went into her room and slammed the door. She hasn't talked to me since. So, am I the idiot for letting her wear what she wore? She is still a kid, and I absolutely knew when I saw her clothing that she would get laughed at by her peers. My husband thinks the whole thing is amusing and is telling me not to worry about it, but I'm feeling a little guilty because it sounds like many people made fun of our daughter. No idiots here. Your daughter is responding in a developmentally appropriate way, but this was also a pretty good lesson for her to learn natural consequences. And if you had forced her to change, you would have taught her the lesson that her autonomy isn't important. So I think you did a great job. She had me in the first half, not gonna lie. I might not think it's as funny as your husband, but she was determined to face the music, and she got her result. Good job, kid. Life is often as sweet as orange juice after brushing. I admire the way she administered the boundary. Not the idiot. You honored her request. But now after a break, go hang out with her and let her get whatever it is off her chest. I don't know anything about girls, but I think if it were a boy, a tween is old enough for you to start throwing sliders. LOL, you're missing the point. She's not really mad at you for not making her change. She's mad at you for rubbing her face in it. Slight, you are the idiot because of what you said to her. You should apologize to her for bringing it up again and ask her if she wants to go get some ice cream or something. The "I told you so" can hurt her confidence. So I think an apology would be wise. Even if you slap on an "I don't appreciate the way you snapped at me, but I understand you were upset with me," chances are she'll apologize as well. So my boyfriend and I have been dating for a year and a half, and things are going great. We don't live together yet, but he sleeps over here a couple of nights a week, as I own my place while he has roommates. There's more privacy here. We've talked about moving in together in the future, and when that day comes, he'll be moving in here, as it makes the most sense. We're just not fully ready to move in yet. Due to our arrangement, he has his own key and can let himself in and out as he pleases, and this has never caused any issues, and I'm fine with him being there as a surprise sometimes. The issue, however, arose when I got home from work 2 days ago, and he called me from the garden. I went out to see what he wanted, figuring maybe he'd set up the hot tub for us to relax in, but was shocked instead to find out he'd set up a chicken coop, and inside were 3 hens. He went on to explain to me how they were former battery hens and how this was great, and we could have eggs all the time while helping them, and how he'd wanted to surprise me. I was not so happy and asked him what the heck he was thinking and why he'd not asked me first, that this was really overstepping, as I'd now have to take care of them fully, and I didn't want chickens. He has promised he'll clean out the coop, feed them, and take care of their general care, and has brought up how I don't use my garden except for the hot tub. Still, I feel like he's missing the point on why I'm so upset. He has told me he'd even taken them to his, but he has no garden for the coop. Is it unreasonable of me to be angry at this? I know he meant well and thought he was doing a good deed helping them, but it's a fact that he can't see why this upsets me that really gets under my skin. Not the idiot. Take back your key, 100% break up totally, change the locks, get hens adopted, have coops removed, and if you can afford to do all that without having to ask him to pay, do it that way, just to have zero contact. You cannot stay with someone who would treat you as if you and your home are subordinate to his whims. This was controlling, diminishing of you, manipulative, and a sign of worse to come if you don't end this. Unbelievable. Not the idiot, OP. Take note, people always talk with your SO before you go and build a chicken coop at their place. This is just bizarre. He didn't run that by you first. I mean, a puppy as a gift without asking is one thing, but 3 hens? LOL? A puppy as a gift without asking is a big deal. It's pretty much the same situation. You're saddling someone with responsibility without consent. What kind of delusional maniac sets up an entire chicken coop in someone else's yard as a surprise, with no indication that said person ever wanted it. Chickens do require more than just their coop cleaned. They're livestock. They need to be fed proper diets, wormed, medicated as necessary, and sometimes vetted. He did not mean well. He sounds unstable. If someone had done this to me, I would have seriously freaked out. I'm a single father of 2 kids, teen female, nearly adult male. Their mom passed away 5 years ago, and I had to make many adjustments to take care of the kids while working, since I used to be the breadwinner. I do most of the chores around the house and make sure the kids focus on school and spend enough time on their hobbies and interests. My son is very level-headed compared to his sister. He saw me struggling to get the dishes done one night, and he came into the kitchen and said, "Dad, do you need a hand? I got 2," while holding his hands up. From that night, he started doing the dishes. His sister started laughing, teasing, and making fun of him for doing girly stuff, since she considered doing the dishes to be women's work. She's wrong, of course, since I spent 5 years washing dishes at restaurants. She'd annoy her brother with comments like how unmanly and how soft he was for doing the dishes. I said stop more times than I can remember, but she didn't listen. Last night was the straw for me. My son was doing the dishes, and she came into the kitchen calling him a girl, then told him to hold on while she pulled out her phone to record him doing dishes and post the video online, saying no girl will want to go out with him once they see this, which infuriated me. I told her to hand her phone over and do the dishes immediately. She was stunned, asking if I was serious, and I used a harsher tone to show her that I was. She begged me not to make her since she just got her nails done, and soap and grease would ruin it. But I had none of it, and told her it was her punishment for treating her brother like this. She pitched a fit and even cried and got all dramatic while doing the dishes, then stormed off to her room after she was done. She has since stopped talking to me and has been in her room all day today. This has been our most significant conflict ever since my wife passed away. Am I the idiot? Did I go too far here? Not the idiot, and I hate to say it, but you may have spoiled your daughter too much. I think you need to get to the bottom of why she thinks and behaves this way. She should get to wash the dishes and destroy her nails for at least a month. After that, digging trenches in your backyard for a garden, and then she gets to learn how to change the oil in a car. Her bigoted attitude is disgusting, and she needs to man up. Plus, he could get so many ladies by posting that he's capable of doing basic chores, at least in my world. So seriously, not only is she being a jerk, but also flat out on another planet. If anything, she got let off easy. The bullying is unacceptable, not to mention incorrect, and she's way too old to be throwing tantrums like that. She should also apologize to her brother and lose her phone privileges. Son should have stopped it the first time she did that. This is too soft. By her own logic, isn't she supposed to do the dishes? OP's daughter has some seriously toxic ideas about masculinity and just misogynistic views in general. Doing dishes isn't women's work. Anyone of any gender could and should be expected to do it. Her belief that chores are women's responsibility and that her brother is unmanly or undesirable for doing them pushes some dated gender stereotypes. She seems like just a mean girl in general, so who the heck makes fun of their brother being a helpful and level-headed young man? A bully, that's who.